Let's talk about how to write an introduction for an informative paper. In this video, you'll be learning to clearly introduce whatever topic you've chosen for your informative paper. We'll do that by showing you how to write a hook sentence, providing background information, and finally, writing a thesis statement. Let's look at hook sentences first. A hook sentence is the very first sentence in your paper. It's a sentence that should grab your reader's attention, which means it should be interesting enough to make your reader to continue reading. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do this, though there are many different ways to do this. 1, you could write an amazing fact about your topic. 2, you could write a question that is interesting enough to keep the reader following along. And finally, you could add a statistic that is very interesting that will also keep your reader reading along. Now let's look at a few examples of what I did for my topic, giant pandas. The amazing fact I chose after reading through many websites was a newborn panda is 1/900th of the size of its mother. Secondly, for the question I chose, giant pandas are one of the most beloved animals in China, but do people really know about these wonderful animals? And for the statistic I chose, in 1970, there were only about 1,000 giant pandas left on Earth. Now, all of these sentences are great hook sentences, so I need to choose which one is best for my paper. And as I thought about it and what I've already written in my subtopic paragraphs, I decided to use the middle one. This one seemed to connect to my paper a bit more than the other 2. Now let's look at background information. Background information is the information that will immediately follow your hook sentences. It's information that your reader needs before they continue reading on. There's 4 main things to remember when you're writing this. This should be after your hook sentence, it should be related to the topic you're writing about, and it should naturally flow into the thesis. And we're looking for around 2 to 3 sentences with this. If you write a little bit more, that's okay as well. Let's see how I did it for giant pandas. The middle here is my background information. As you can see, it's immediately after the hook sentence that I just showed you. And it comes right before the thesis statement. Now I'm going to read this and make sure it meets all 4 points on the left here. Giant pandas are one of the most beloved animals in China. But do people really know about these wonderful animals? Most people probably know that they are black and white, and some people may think they can do kung fu. It is worth learning more facts about this famous animal. Giant pandas have special characteristics, live in certain areas of China, and eat food besides just bamboo. This does seem to fit all 4 requirements on the left here, so you're free to go on. Let's check out thesis statement. The thesis statement tells your readers the main ideas of your subtopic paragraphs, which follow your introduction. The thesis can be a little tricky to write, so I've turned it into a bit of a math problem, which makes it a little easier to write it if you've never written one before. A thesis statement is basically your main topic, plus your subtopic 1, plus your subtopic 2, and finally, plus your subtopic 3. It'll be very helpful if you have this worksheet with you. It'll make things a little easier to write this thesis statement. Now let's see how I did it for giant pandas. Firstly, my main topic's giant pandas, so I started with that. Subtopic 1 says, what special characteristics describe a giant panda? Well, I don't want to put a question right here because that would be a bit odd. So I'm going to put have special characteristics here because that seems to flow better, right? Giant pandas have special characteristics. Okay, since I started with a verb there in have, I should probably start with a verb on my second one too. So I'm going to write live in certain areas of China. And thirdly, eat food besides just bamboo. You can see how I changed the questions on the right to fit into this sentence. Let's see how it flows as I read through this. Giant pandas have special characteristics, live in certain areas of China, eat food besides just bamboo. Now, I do need to fix some grammar things here because, of course, I can't have pluses in my paper. And this is how I would do it. I would add commas and an and to end this, I would add an exclamation point. So now let's see how it reads. Giant pandas have special characteristics, live in certain areas of China, and eat food besides just bamboo. That flows much better, and it tells my readers what they're about to read in the next paragraph. Therefore, this thesis statement is well done, and it tells my readers exactly what's coming next, which is exactly what a thesis statement should do. Now let's look at the worksheet you'll be using that'll help you to write your introduction paragraph. As you're writing your hook sentence, try to use one of the tricks that we talked about earlier. Write an amazing fact, a question, or statistic. And if you remember, I used a question, so that's what I chose because I thought it fit best with my topic. Secondly, the background information. You want to have background information that helps your readers to know what's coming, so try to connect to what you think they may already know. And this is how I did it with giant pandas. You'll notice the third sentence is green. It's not really background information. This is more of a connection sentence to my thesis statement. It helped my introduction to flow a little bit better. And lastly, the thesis statement, which we just spoke about. I'll put that there. And once you get to this point, you'll be ready for a teacher to come by and check out what you have. And if it's good to go, you'll be done.